Good morning, everyone. Seems like my mic wasn't working, but everything should be good here. What's up? What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Today is August the 13th. It's a Thursday today. We do have core PPI in the morning. Yesterday, we had core CPI. Overall markets had nice continuation towards the upside. We had a little bit more consolidation here in the overall markets. SPY had a little bit of a pullback, but you can see the semiconductors is really what led the market higher. We had a couple nice names that had continuation right off the bat. As for today, there's a couple more semis that are continuing to push towards the upside. We do have some Meg 7 names that pull back here. So a lot of things to go over coming into market open. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. What's up, Calvin P1? Good morning, J-Tan. Good morning, Knight, Cody, Wallace, Maria. What's up, Andy B. Roots? What's up, Bobby? Nice trade on MU. What's up, TW, Juan, Carl? Good morning, Monty, Sinna. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Gerald, Lamont, Ryan, Gusta. What's up, Randy? What's up, Ashley, Andrea, Julius? Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully everything's good. Hopefully my mic and screen and everything's good here as well. With that being said, let me pull up the economic calendar. So for today, as you can see, we do have some red folder news that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, core PPI month over month, along with the unemployment claims, which is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So same thing as yesterday. We'll just kind of go over some charts for the first 20-30 minutes. And then once we do have core PPI, we'll kind of develop our game plan from there. As for some more red folder news, right, we do have core retail sales. As for the economic calendar, or sorry, the earnings calendar, a couple other names had some earnings yesterday. Really, one of the big ones yesterday was MBIS, or the day before. As you can see, nice continuation on this one. Daily time frame, really massive reversal right off that 180. You can see this one's up nicely. We'll talk about MBIS here. That name moved nicely yesterday. With that being said, let's start off here with the major indices. Starting off with the SPY. As you can see, higher time frame still very much intact. Higher lows are being built. We are forming this kind of higher time frame daily wedge pattern here. What we would like to see now is the break above that 775. You can see this has been a little bit of a tough level for the SPY this week. You can see multiple reactions yesterday. We end up having a nice push up in the pre-market from our previous day lows all the way to our previous day highs. And you can see within the first 5 minutes of market open, we did have some sellers that stepped in and we rejected right off that higher time frame key level right back into that previous day's range. So a little bit more consolidation after rejecting off that previous day's range. And I can see coming to this morning, we're right back up in towards that 775. What I personally would like to see coming into today for continuation, if we can break above that previous day highs and hold, that's going to be a sign for continuation up and towards our all-time highs here in the markets. Before, let me make sure everything's good. My mic wasn't working earlier, but can you guys type 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me? Or if the audio is kind of messed up, but it should be good here. One, 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 all good, perfect. Yeah, I'm not sure why the OBS. I think there might have been like an issue with the YouTube or OBS earlier in the morning, but it should be good here now. Perfect. Okay, so SPY coming into market open the exact same levels as yesterday. In the day prior, right? Previous day high, 775 is going to be key for continuation. If we do pull back, we could be looking for that higher low off that 772 for that pushback towards the upside here as well. So regardless, yes, we want to see that previous day high break. For the ES, key technical levels that we have marked out 77.90. Similar thesis above that previous day highs continuation. If we do pull back, 77.70 is going to be key for continuation back towards the upside here as well. We do have this kind of higher time frame wedge pattern forming. So if we can break above that previous day highs, it's going to be key for continuation towards the upside. If we take a look at the QQQ, let's go on to the daily chart on this one. As you can see, similar thesis as the SPY. We've been kind of rejecting off that 730. If you want to see continuation, it is forming this flat top break here, break above, continuation towards the upside here is in play. Key technical levels that we have marked out is that 726. Other levels that we have marked out here as well, which is that 720, which is that previous day lows here on the QQQ. So yesterday we end up having a pretty strong push up in the pre-market. We did have a little bit of seller step in right off the bat. And you can see we ended up just consolidating above its previous day highs, which is that 723. Now what I like to see for the Qs is just continuation, right? Above that 723 hold for a push higher, above that 726 for that continuation towards the upside here as well. So for the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 726. Higher lows are being built. If we can get above that 726, we can see that continuation up and towards that 730. So this is what we have on the QQQ coming into market open. The break underneath that previous day lows, we can definitely see a flip here back towards the downside. So that's what we have on the QQQ. As for the NQ, you can see how many touches we have off this general area. We just mark out that higher time frame level of resistance. You can see touch here, another touch yesterday. If we can break above, hold above that 30,000, we can see continuation towards the upside. Right now, you can see a couple rejections yesterday. That's the key level if you want to see continuation. And then the other level is that previous day low. So coming into market open, if you want to see a push higher above that previous day highs, continuation. Okay, we should be back here. It did seem like my stream cut out. I think it was like an OBS issue, but we should be back here now. If you guys do have any issues with the stream, just make sure to click that refresh button and it should be all good. Sound good now? Okay, we back good. All right, let's go on to the SMH. So SMH, the key levels that we have marked out is just going to be that 590. So let's go on to even the 4-hour time frame. Gives us a good idea of what we're looking at, right? 590 is key. You can see how many touches we have off this 4-hour time frame. Above that 590, we can see continuation towards the upside. So key levels, if you go into the hourly time frame, you can see how many touches we have off this general area. Above that 590, continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario, the hold of that 580 for that continuation higher here as well. So all the indices are in key technical areas, right? The 4-hour here on the QQQ, just mark out this, and we just want to see that flat top break on the higher time frames. And then of course with the SPY, we're forming this hourly or higher time frame flag pattern. Now we just want to see continuation towards the upside. With core PPI coming into market open, we'll see the reaction that we have. But above that previous day high is going to be key for continuation, of course. If we go on to the IWM, the key levels that we have marked out is that previous all-time highs 302. Now above that 302, continuation towards the highs. If you look at this on the 15-minute time frame, the key levels that we have marked out now, we can just mark out that previous day highs. So previous day highs, we're now breaking above this area, which is that 303. Higher time frame key technical level as well. If we can maintain above that previous day highs, hold above that previous day highs, we can see that continuation back towards the upside. Okay, with that being said, we'll go over some tech names and some other tickers as well for the next 15 minutes until core PPI. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. I'm gonna grab some water here and then we'll head on to the names. Okay. Starting off with Tesla, let's take a look at this one more so on the hourly time frame. Higher time frames that we do have marked out, or the key technical levels, is our 340. That's the level I wanted to see Tesla gravitate towards. You can see on the daily time frame, that is our previous level of support. Plus, that is our earnings key technical level here as well. So for Tesla, I want to see that reaction off that 340. It does seem like we're kind of getting some sellers to step in a little bit above, or sorry, a little bit below that 340, and we're rejecting off our key technical level. But if we go on to the 1 hour time frame, let's go on to the hourly chart. The key levels that we have marked out here is that 335, or sorry, that 340. So 340 is key. You can see a couple of reactions kind of off this general area. And for Tesla, a lot of the Mag 7 names ended up selling off yesterday. This one sold off pretty aggressively, and we got underneath that previous day lows, and we got underneath that 330 here as well. So moving forward, based off this hourly structure, you can see higher lows are being built. Now we're right at that 380, or sorry, we're right at that 328. If we reject here off that 328, maintain underneath that 328, we can see continuation towards the downside. If we do get above that 328, then we can see a potential flip for a push back up and towards previous day highs and above. So right here for Tesla, I'm fairly neutral coming into market open. It could go both ways. If we reclaim back above that 328, we can see continuation. If we reject and get underneath that previous day lows, then we can see a little bit more downside down and towards that 320 and potentially below here. So keep an eye out on Tesla just off that 328 and that previous day lows coming to market open. Let's take a look at AMD. This one is right at our earnings low. This one ended up having a bounce earlier into the week. We got above our previous day highs yesterday. This one technically on the higher time frame is still bearish. We're building up lower highs. If we do get underneath that previous day lows, definitely could see a potential retracement right back down in towards that 470 here on the higher time frame. So key levels that we have marked out: previous day lows coming into today. If we get underneath that previous day lows, hold underneath that previous day lows, then we can see a move down in towards our that 474. So keep an eye out on AMD for potential gap fill reversal. If we can reclaim back above, then we can see a move back up in towards our previous day close and potentially above. The reclaim setups are going to be a little bit more difficult just based off the structure here on the higher time frames. Something that I do like that is holding up nicely is NVIDIA. Nice continuation towards the upside. We kind of just mark out this period of consolidation. Nice push up yesterday. We end up having that nice previous day high retest as well. Key technical levels that we have marked out on NVIDIA is just going to be that previous day highs. Other levels that we can have marked out is our low that we created here from yesterday, plus we have our Tuesday's highs as well. So for NVIDIA, if we're looking at this on the daily time frame, you can see nice kind of flag pattern that formed. We still have not broken outside of this consolidation, but above that 225, we can see continuation towards the upside. Key technical levels that we have marked out on on NVIDIA coming into market open is going to be that 222. And then we also have that previous day highs. So if we want to see continuation above our previous day highs, or now the hold of that 222 for continuation back towards the upside. As for a few other names that we have, Apple back into our earnings low. Let's keep an eye out for buyers to step in here off that 300. As for Google and a lot of these Mag 7 names, we end up pulling back yesterday. Really, the main levels that we should have marked out, it's just going to be that previous day lows area if we want to see continuation lower underneath that previous day lows for continuation towards the downside. If you want to see longs, just mark out that previous day highs. We'd like to see a break above that for any sort of continuation. As for Microsoft, this one is now pulling back into our key levels. In this case, we can mark out that 492 on the higher time frames. If you do want to see continuation, hold of that 492 or now above that 500 for any sort of mean reversion back towards the upside. So for Microsoft, this one, just mark out that 500 key psych. This is the area that we broke down from yesterday, and this is kind of our higher time frame level of support now turning into resistance. So we like to see the flip back above that 498 for continuation. Meta ended up getting back underneath that 600 yesterday. So some of the Mag 7 names end up having a pullback. The only thing that held up was, of course, the semiconductors, AMD, Nvidia, and a couple other names that end up holding up the markets. Amazon ended up pulling back, got underneath key technical levels. So the main ones we're going to focus on moving forward is just the semiconductors, memory, and things that are holding up. SpaceX ended up having a nice move. I've been talking about the 150, which is kind of that IPO low, right? The actual IPO was 135, but once it IPO'd in the actual markets, 150 a share. So this is kind of our key level of support, as you can see. Multiple touches. Once we broke underneath, now we're retracing back. The exact level here is at 150. So moving forward, we can just draw this line in the sand. If we reject here, we can see continuation. If we can reclaim back above that 150, we can see a potential retracement. So the exact level here is 150. You can see a little bit of sellers are kind of stepping in here in the pre-market. Now, if you want to see continuation, mark out that previous day highs. If we can break above, we can see continuation towards the upside. If we kind of reject off this previous day highs area, then we can see a push right back down in towards. Now it's back all the way into that 140. This is the area that we broke out from. So coming into market open for today with kind of the cues dropping a little bit, coming back down into that previous day lows. The names that are holding up is really just Nvidia coming into today. The rest of the names I'm a lot more neutral on coming into market open. Really the only green names, Nvidia, SpaceX, along with AMD. Now let me take a look at some other names. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, I'll go over some for the next 5 minutes until core PPI. And then we will develop our game plan from there. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's start off on Palantir. So Palantir is still bullish on the higher time frames, hourly chart, still above our key technical levels here as well. So for Palantir, if we're looking at this on the hourly chart, what would I like to see? Right now, you can see some buyers are kind of stepping in off this 168. I would like to see the reclaim back above that 172 for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. So for a Palantir, you can see it actually came up yesterday, rejected off that previous day close, pushed towards the lows. Now coming to market open, I need to see that reclaim back above that 172, or of course above that previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. Right now, we're just consolidating after having a pretty big move higher. I would like to see, yeah, above that 172 at a minimum for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. So keep an eye on that for Palantir. If we reject off this 172, or if we get underneath that previous day lows, then I'll be a little bit more short bias on Palantir for a potential move back down in towards that 165. As for MU, this one did push up in towards our level of resistance. So we can just kind of mark out this general area. You can see how many touches we've had off this 920, or you can even mark it down into that 930-ish. But this is a very key level here on MU. You can see a little bit of rejections here yesterday, and I could see in the pre-market we're dropping just a little bit here as well. So for MU, you end up having this nice downtrend break, push up in towards that 930, and now I can see a little bit of rejection. So key levels that we have marked out on MU today is going to be that previous day lows, 900 if you want to see continuation higher, maintain above that previous day lows for a pushback towards the upside. Of course, now that's going to be the long position. Of if we get above that previous day highs, that'd be bullish as well, but we're a lot farther away from our previous day highs. So key level, previous day low bounce for potential continuation. Underneath that previous day lows, we can see a potential reversal here. You prefer going long on most trades, especially if the market is bullish. Well, I'll have more of a long bias. If the market flips bearish, then I'm interested in some shorts, but primarily they are towards the upside, just because the overall market has been fairly bullish. If we're talking about the last year, more so in specific. Genuine question: why is CPI important? CPI is inflation numbers, so of course that's important for the overall markets. The main ones is FOMC. We have CPI, and then of course we have PPI. Those are the main red folder or main news events that will impact the market. So every single month, at least FOMC happens 8 times a year. CPI, PPI will happen once a month. So those are the big days. And then we also have other red folder news that will impact the market as well. But the main thing is they just impact the market whenever you have something called the red folder news event. Usually those ones are high impact news. So it can move the markets. If we're talking about SanDisk key levels that we have marked out, that 1320, you can see nice buyers stepped in yesterday for continuation towards the upside. Now you can see we are pulling back here in the pre-market. Key technical levels that we have marked out. Right, previous day highs, you have our previous day lows, potential bounce play here off that previous day lows for continuation. Of course, if you do want to see other continuation higher above that previous day highs. INTC, nice bounce up into that 103. Couple kind of sellers stepping in. Similar thesis above that 100 or now above that 103 for continuation. WDC, nice bounce. Let's take a look at MBIS. This one really strong on the daily time frame. Broke above our key level of resistance. Let's keep an eye out on MBIS. Key levels that we have marked out now is going to be that previous day highs. So we can mark this out. Let's just drag this down. So for MBIS, key levels that we can have marked out is just going to be that previous day highs general area. We can also mark out that after hours highs. But coming to market open, what I would like to see is just any sort of pullback, right? Preferably this like pre-market low dip and rip for continuation back towards the upside. So this is what we have for MBIS for continuation coming to market open. MRVL, a little bit of sellers still stepping in off that 222. TSM, I do like TSM. Keep an eye on TSM hold above that 424 for continuation up and towards that previous day highs and above. So keep an eye on TSM coming to market open. Other names that are moving nicely, Dell's at all-time high. So this one nice on the daily time frame. You can see that reclaim back above that 460, and now we're seeing some continuation. A lot of bullish flow on this one, already back up and towards 500. So Dell, nice continuation towards the upside. Other key levels that we have marked out is just going to be that pre-market high. So you have your pre-market low bounce for continuation, or potentially that previous day highs, which is a lot farther away, or in this case now above our pre-market highs for continuation towards the upside. Okay, we do have some numbers that are being released currently, the core PPI numbers. We'll take a look at that here in a second. Would you be able to comment on typical stop loss level and retest on continuation and typical price targets? Stop loss is just going to be your point of invalidation. As for targets, you can look for high of day and then look left on the higher time frames for targets. I talk about that a little bit more so in specific on the trade recaps. So make sure to check out my second channel. In this case, a lot of it, at least what we're doing here in the pre-market, is just mark out key levels. Market orders, that's correct. Do you have interest in MBIS since it has a big trend yesterday? Yeah, MBIS is we're interested in for potential continuation day number two. Yesterday, day number one's very bullish, so now day number two, we'll keep an eye out for that one. So we recently just had some core PPI numbers being released. So far in the pre-market on at least the SPY, we're a little bit more bullish just because we pushed up here in the pre-market. We are a little bit green, but very much well can be red here with the core PPI numbers. So initial pop, and now it seems like we're pulling back towards the downside. Qs kind of right at that previous day lows. So at least for the numbers in itself, core PPI month over month, 0.2%. The forecasted was 0.3, so it came in a little bit lower than expected. The PPI month over month, 0%, forecasted 0.2. And as for the unemployment claims, 202, a little bit higher, but not by a lot. But as you can see, the month over month here, 0% compared to 0.2. I'd say fairly neutral reaction. We're just coming right back down into that previous day close. So the gap that we do have is just going to be filled coming into market open. As for the Qs, just fairly neutral, kind of right at that previous day close, right at that previous day lows, and that previous high that we created here on Tuesday. If we go onto the SPY chart, we're kind of rejecting once again here off that 775, and we're just going to come right back down in towards that previous day close. So coming into market open, let's kind of go over some of the other watches that we have coming into today. And what we're looking for, AVGO, what's the link to your second channel? You can search up Jack Trades, or if you go into my main channel, then you can scroll down. So if I go here, let me show you guys. If you go into my main channel, you can scroll down. So this is my main channel. If you scroll down, you'll see my second channel, and you can click this. And this is where I post more of my my trade recaps, my weekly outlooks. It's just called Jack Trades. Okay, let me go over some of the watches that I'm looking for coming into market open, with more so specific with the kind of the keys being a little bit more neutral coming into today. So right now, we're gonna have, you can see this week we've had a lot more consolidation in the markets, right? SPY, we're unable to break above that 775. Qs, we've also been kind of ranging here as well. We just want to see the break above that higher time frame 726 for continuation towards the upside. But what are my main watches for today? The only names I'm really interested in for upside are some of the semiconductors and some memory names. You can see the SMH is still a little bit more bullish than the SPY and Qs, just because we end up having a major gap up yesterday. But currently today, we're kind of right around that previous day lows. So at least in the pre-market, the semiconductors aren't that strong. But just based off yesterday, there's a couple things we can keep an eye out for. NVIDIA, this one looks ready for that next leg towards the upside. If we look at this on the daily chart, we're basing above our 212. You can see buyers stepped in yesterday. We're ranging for the past week. If we can break above our previous day highs, we can see continuation towards the upside. So let's keep an eye out on NVIDIA here coming into today. Key level that we have marked out 225, above our 225. We can see 230 today on NVIDIA. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Another possible scenario is just going to be the bounce play here off that 222 for continuation towards the upside. So keep an eye out on NVIDIA right off the bat. As for Tesla and AMD, keep an eye on that previous day lows. As for the rest of the tickers here, a lot of these ones are a little bit weaker, closer to that previous day low. So not too many names are that bullish compared to the overall markets. SpaceX, this one had that nice move yesterday above that earnings high, above that previous day highs. Nice continuation towards the upside here. SpaceX is into my higher time frame level of resistance now. I would be a little bit more cautious on SpaceX. You could be looking for some sort of opening drive towards the upside, but just be cautious of some kind of seller stepping in. If they were to take profits right? That kind of opening or that IPO price is a good area, that 150. So I do expect a little bit of sellers to step in today or to take some profits kind of right at that 150 general area. So be a little bit more cautious on SpaceX. As for the rest of the names, AVGO, a little bit of rejections off that 428. This one's pulling back. Palantir, a couple pullbacks here as well. But names like MU, still interested in MU. As you can see, we are forming this kind of higher time frame flat top break. If you will want to see continuation above, now it's going to be that 900 for a continuation towards the upside, or now just above this flat top for a continuation. So for MU, the key technical levels that I have marked out is going to be that 900, a hold of that for a continuation higher, above that 930, also in play here as well. SNDK, if we can get back above that 1360, potential flip back towards the highs. As for INTC, we need it above that 103. Other names that I do like, let's keep an eye on MBIS today for continuation day 2 for a pushback towards the highs. This one has a very strong trend that we'll keep an eye out for. And then right, TSM, even like a higher time frame break and retest. Dell looks good as well for continuation. So really today, primarily the semiconductors. If you're taking a look at DRAM, this one is still holding up as well. Higher lows are being built. Yesterday, we had a nice gap up. Let's keep an eye on DRAM for continuation above our previous day highs for a pushback towards the upside. Let's take a look at a few other names here. Coherent, this one had earnings. This one's still holding up very nicely on the higher time frames. You can see this weekly time frame flip nicely. Higher lows are being built as well. This one has room back up in towards our highs, but now you're just going to mark out that earnings low and that earnings high. That's going to be key. SMCI had earnings as of recent as well. This one had nice continuation post earnings. Key levels that we have marked out on SMCI is just going to be that previous day highs along with that earnings high. If you're taking a look at this on the daily chart, we end up filling this gap back towards the upside. So for SMCI now above our previous day highs, next major level is going to be really 46 here on the higher time frames. And then, yeah, Dell continuation there as well. So coming into market open here, at least for today, right? The spine cues a little bit more neutral, but we're just going to keep on names that have relative strength, kind of similar to yesterday. We're just going to keep an eye on some of the semiconductors for continuation. As I mentioned, NVIDIA, keep an eye on that one for continuation. We'll keep an eye on SpaceX here, and then some names that are still holding up on the higher time frames, like an MU, SNDK, INTC, if you can get above that previous day highs. MBIS is a name that we're going to be watching a little bit more closely right off the bat. And then we can take a look at tickers like Dell. That one has continuation towards, that one's at all-time high, so we can keep an eye out for that one, right? CRWV had a nice gap up, so we'll keep an eye on day 2 continuation for a push higher. Key level is going to be that previous day lows, that reclaim for that pushback towards the highs. Other names that look good, right? Similar thing, right? HPE, this one has room all the way back up in towards that all-time highs here as well. So higher lows are being built. Keep an eye on an HPE for a pushback up in towards that all-time highs. But yeah, with that being said, that is going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. And with that being said, if you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. Netflix, this one is kind of right at that previous kind of resistance. Netflix, you just want to see that continuation flip back towards the highs. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today. All-time highs. What time do you start drawing out key levels? I usually do it in the after hours, or I do it on the weekends and then kind of refine my levels each morning. But normally speaking, I'll have these levels pre-drawn coming into today, or already coming into the pre-market prep. But yeah, that's going to be it for me today, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.